All right, better late than never. Here are the latest slots that I recommend you play and avoid on Royal Caribbean's Grandeur of the Seas to lose less while earning more comps from Royal Caribbean. Let's go. Hey, how's it going? Thank you so much for checking out the video today. My channel is all about finding ways to get on the world's biggest, best cruise ships, not paying fare, earning comps through the casino loyalty program. My focus isn't hitting jackpots, it's playing longer in the casino while stretching my bankroll so I can get a bunch of great marketing offers. I've already done 2 Grandeur of the Seas videos just like this, slots I recommend you play and ones I think you should avoid, but a lot of machines changed since the last time I was on just a couple of short months ago. I'll link those other videos in the description if you want to watch those as well. One thing I want to say before we get started is the Grandeur of the Seas Casino gets very busy. It is a very popular place to be on the ship, probably because there's less amenities and also probably because there's a lot of comps that go on these cruises. So sometimes you may have to play machines you don't necessarily want to because your favorite machines are taken. So I think this video can help you too if you're looking for a game you haven't played before that I recommend you do play if you want to spend less while earning these comps. All right, let's start with the play category. The first one is Clinko. This isn't a game I would, consider a go-to by any stretch of the imagination, but this game does have a couple of things going for it. First of all, the minimum bet is 60 cents, which is not bad. And the second thing is that it does tend to return to player a little bit better. I think it's less volatile than a lot of the other machines. So that's obviously pretty good. You can play for a while and not lose your shirt right away. I'm not going to go too much into the gameplay. I'm sure you've seen this one around. You spin, you win the bonus, the balls come down. You can hit things like wild stack, multipliers, 777 ads. And then, that's essentially it. This game is not the funnest, but it's also not one of the more boring games as well. So I do recommend, especially if your favorite games are occupied, that you sit down and play this one for a while. Coin combo. Okay, so I've covered this one in my other previous Grandeur of the Seas videos and some other videos as well. I'm sure you know how the gameplay works already. This one is still a go-to for me because I do believe that even though the bet's on the bit of the higher level, 88 cents, I do believe you get some really good pay lines while you're playing. And that to me is the key to kind of replenishing your bankroll and being able to play longer with the eventual goal of trying to trigger a jackpot. Now the pots can stay full for a long time. This is one of those slots I did mention in my last video that I don't think that these indicators on these games are all created equally. For instance, I think once dancing drums, once the pot gets big on that one, it is more likely to trigger sooner than something like Mo Mummy where the green jewel pile gets really, really tall and you can play forever and ever without that thing triggering. So I do think with coin combo, it's somewhere in the middle. It doesn't trigger necessarily quickly after they get full. Of course, with any of these, they can trigger when they're empty. They can trigger when they're full. They can not trigger when they're full. It is a graphical representation. But of course, as I've said many, many times, I do think the odds are marginally better that you could trigger a bonus on a machine with full pots or full pigs than you would with empty because you know it's been longer since that bonus has been triggered. So this game, is a combination of, I think line hits are good. I love the gameplay. I think it's a lot of fun. And, anecdotally, I have had quite a bit of success on these machines. So that is why I recommend that you play them. Crazy Money Gold. So this one is same as Clinko. It's made by the same game manufacturer. It's got the same kind of allure to it, which is, you can play 40-cent bets. So if you're struggling at the casino and you're trying to, not lose so much, you can sit at this machine and play it quite a while. You can get some decent line hits. The bonus triggers quite frequently, even though the bonus is usually pretty mid, like you don't get huge returns from it. But I do think that if you are struggling at the casino and you're just looking to play for a while and like stretch that play time for marketing offers, this is a pretty good bet. And even if you wanted to bet up and bet to the next level, which is 80 cents, you're still not betting a ridiculous amount. So I do recommend you play this game, especially if your favorite game is being played somewhere else. Devil's Lock. So the good thing about Devil's Lock is that it is a lower volatility machine, and you can tell that because the grand on a 66-cent bet is only $660. So you can feel pretty comfortable that less of your bet is going into paying out the bonuses, the jackpots. This game, you know, the pigs can be very frustrating. It's another one of those games where the pigs can get really, really big and then just sit there forever. But I do find you can get some pretty good line hits on this game, just in the base game. And then also, I do feel like the luck has arrived. It can be a good one for you. And also, this game, you can tend to get on a heater. And I know that's the same for every slot machine. You can say, oh yeah, you know, I played this game and I couldn't lose. But I feel like when these games get hot, like you can run for quite a while and they're just, you know, giving you good pay lines and giving you bonuses, and luck has arrived pops up all the time. So I do recommend that you give this game a play. Dragon Spin. Now, I've avoided playing this one on Grandeur. This is like probably an OG game that's been on this cruise ship for like over 10 years. It's an older game. There's a bank of, I think, 5, and I do also believe they use these for slot tournaments because they are connected together. This game actually isn't bad. Like I said, I haven't really played it too much in the past, but what I do like about this is the bet is 50 cents, and B, the bonus tends to trigger fairly often, and the line hits aren't too bad. This is a game that you can play for quite a while and not lose a lot on, and that's obviously our goal here, so I do recommend you play it. Dreams of Egypt. This is another OG game. This one I was going to put in the play with caution because honestly, like, I don't find it to be super fun, and I don't find that the bonus triggers that often. But again, it's got a lower grand, so you can assume that it's a little lower volatility. You get some decent line hits as you go. There's this one game feature where the misty kind of like sandy top part expands, and then all of the reels are open to you to get line hits, and you get some pretty good line hits through there. So that combined with, you know, the lower volatility, if you're looking for something to play and it's busy, you could sit and play at this one for a while. Shamrock Fortunes. I'm not going to go too much into this. I seem to have covered this like 30 times. Again, this is the one I go to, especially if these pots are full, because what you're really trying to do is you're really trying to get like a triple pop or at least a double pop. Now, the one you really don't want to get is you don't want to get the red jackpot pop by itself, because it's the one where when you get the coins in the bonus game, it fills up the coins at the top, and then every time you fill one, it eliminates one of those symbols and turns it into a pot as well. So that becomes part of some pretty decent line hits as you go along. And of course, because the jackpot amounts are on the far right line, the more pots that you have on the other lines, the better chance you have of linking it up and hitting one of those jackpots. But if you win it by yourself, you only get 5 spins, and it's really hard to knock off a bunch of those symbols and turn them into pots with only 5 spins. So if you can combine the expanded reels and the extra spins game with the jackpot game, you can get some really crazy line hits on this bonus. So that's why I recommend you play it. And also, typically speaking, when the pots are full, it's not too long before they trigger. I mean, I have had sessions where I've put quite a bit of money into it and they haven't triggered it, but I would say that that is more of a rarity. So I do recommend you play this game, especially if the pots are big. Of course, there's Dragons, which is the exact same game, but with dragons, and it's the exact same thing with those. I love this game. Tiger and Dragon Super Bonus. Now, I would say that generally speaking, this is probably a game that should go in the play with caution because I do believe that you can have some dead play on this game, and the bet level is $1, which is a little bit high. But this game is a lot of fun. It's really unique, and you can have some really good bonuses if you can double trigger or even single trigger. So essentially what you're trying to do is there's numbers that come up on the lines, and you're trying to get them next to each other on the same line because then they become dollar amounts. You're also trying to get the tiger and the dragon because each time you get that, it feeds those chests and you can pop them. Now, if you get 3 of them of the same type, it will automatically trigger one of those chests. So that's another way you can win. There's also a luck has arrived feature on this game. It's just a lot of fun. Also, when you get more than 4 of those symbols, it feeds into that top rotating gong and it adds those symbols in, and you can get like 5 or 6, and then all of a sudden you'll get like a luck has arrived gong. It'll gong it, and then those values will fall into your pay lines, and you can get some pretty good payouts that way as well. So there's a lot of variety, a lot of different ways of winning, and it's just fun. The only problem on Grandeur is there's only 2 of these and they're usually full. So, I recommend maybe playing in the morning when you're at sea. Or if you are a night owl, wait until 1 o'clock or later and you'll probably be able to play these games. Tree of Prosperity. This is definitely one of my favorites. So when you're thinking of Tree of Prosperity, just think dancing drums, but with the caveat that it is harder to trigger that tree than it is to trigger the pot on dancing drums. Now, the reason for that is that there is an additional functionality in the pick feature. So when you do trigger the tree and all the coins fall down and you pick 3 to get, the mini, the minor, the major, or the grand, there is one where if you can get 3 of the blue symbols, it eliminates the mini and it boosts the rest. So the lowest you can get is the minor, and the minor is usually like $45 or something. So you can get a lot better than hitting that like $12 mini on dancing drums. Additionally, just as with dancing drums, the real win is hitting the 3 scatter symbols or 4 or 5, and then playing the extra spins game. That's where you're going to get some really great line hits. I usually pick in the middle when it comes to dancing drums and Tree of Prosperity. You get a bunch of different options when you go for free spins. I find that one is kind of a good blend between getting enough spins to have at least 1 or 2 decent line hits, but also having really good symbols so that when you get those line hits, they're multiplied really well. If you're like to take a risk, you can go all the way to the left and get the best symbols, but you only get 3 spins. So you have to hope that like one of them hits. Yeah, I do definitely recommend you play this game. This one almost also went into caution just because it takes so long for that tree to trigger. So just keep that in mind. And finally, I bring this up a lot, but video poker. Video poker is a good way to go. And I've found like my favorite is playing the triple play. Now, 25 cents is the minimum bet. And you do want to max bet when you're playing. So if you're trying to be more economical, maybe you just play 1 line and you max bet that, which is $1.25 a spin. That way, you're not losing too much. The reason I play 3 is because if you hit something good on that first deal, like you can really do very well. And I've had some really good hits off of it. And additionally, because this is the safest game to play in the casino, if you know how to play video poker, I just think that it's a good bet if you're trying to play longer. Now, there is a couple of things that you need to know with video poker. I've mentioned these before. Number 1, it's $5 a point cycle through a slot machine to get a point with Royal Caribbean. But with video poker, it's $10 a point. So keep that in mind. If you're trying to earn points, you may want to play like 3 lines, 5 lines, even 10 lines, but that can get pretty expensive. But like I said, if you know how to play video poker, you may be losing less. That's another thing I want to mention. Because the house advantage is less on video poker, that figures into your average daily theoretical. That's house advantage bet level, and time spent playing. That is the calculation that Royal Caribbean uses to decide whether they want to offer you marketing offers. So think free fare, free play, that kind of stuff. So you do have to play video poker longer in order to get the same benefit, unless, like I said, you're playing like 5 hands or 10 hands. For me, 3 hands is a sweet spot. Jacks or better is really great. If you're not an expert at video poker, you might want to consider watching some videos and maybe playing Deuces Wild, because Deuces Wild is quite a bit simpler in the way that you either hold or not hold cards. So I definitely recommend you play this, especially if you're struggling in the casino. On to games I recommend you play with caution. Buffalo Gold Max. You know, this video that you're seeing right now, it looks like, yeah, play this game because you can win so much money. But like, this is an outlier for sure. It's weird because I do, like, you know, once every second cruise or so, I do tend to get like a huge hit on Buffalo games, like all these added on newer Buffalo games, which, you know, these are higher volatility games. So it does make sense that you can have bigger wins. Like, look, it's a 75-cent bet, and I can't even remember how much I won on this. It was hundreds of dollars. So that's, you know, I don't even know how many X that is. Don't ask me to do math because I can't. It's more than 100x. Anything more than 100x on bonus is great. So the difference between Buffalo Gold and Buffalo Gold Max Power is some of the symbols are joined together on the pay lines, so they fill up more of that slot. So if you can get a line, now instead of just getting one single line to pay, you're getting multiple lines to pay. So it can actually end up paying out pretty good on the pay lines. But other than that, it's like basically like regular Buffalo Gold. So the reason I say play with caution is that this game is very volatile, and you can go a long time with hitting a bonus without hitting a bonus, and you can have a lot of dead spins. So maybe sit down, play for a while. If it's not giving you any money back, get up, play something else, and maybe come back to it later. Lightning Link. You know, this one probably should be in a don't play. Lightning Link and Dragon Link are Satan games in the casino if you're trying to low roll, because they have so many dead spins and it's so hard to get a good bonus. Even if you trigger that bonus, which can be quite difficult, you can get really, really poor returns on your bet. The one thing I do like about this one in particular is that it's a 50-cent minimum bet. And the majors were really high on some of these machines. There was one that was maxed out at $1,000 on a 50-cent bet, which is really great. And the one that you see me playing right now was $914, which is also pretty high. Also, you know, grand jackpot of $20,000 is pretty darn good for a 50-cent bet, although your odds are infinitesimal that you're actually going to hit that grand, as you know. So I would say, you know, play this game for a while, especially if it's busy. And if you see that the major is maxed out, because I do think that that's attainable. But I've also seen people put a lot of money in these machines, so I wouldn't play it too long. Mighty Cash Ultra 88. So this is one of those games that has a base game, and then this is the kind of new game with more features. More features equals more volatility. The reason I recommend that you play this game with caution is a couple of things. Number one, I haven't played it a ton, so I can't really confidently say one way or another. But in my small experience on this game, it took a long time to hit the bonus, and the bonus that I hit was not good at all. And I'd also say, like, there's not a ton of line hits on this game too. You can just go over to your left when you're on Grandeur, and you can play the regular Mighty Cash games, and I think you have a much better chance of getting good returns and stretching your bankroll on those. So this one, I would say, play with caution. Mystery of the Lamp. So this one is fun. The bonuses are really unique. I've not played this one very much just because there's only, I think one of them. There's two of them. I'm sorry. There's two of them, but they were always full. So it's not that I didn't want to play them, but they just didn't have much of an opportunity to. I did play these a bit in Vegas, and I do find that you can be waiting quite a while for those lamps to pop. But if they pop, in multiples, 2 or 3, you can have some pretty good bonuses. I don't think the line hits though are reliable on this game. So I say play with caution, just because I think you have to watch, because it can drain your bankroll if you're not careful. All right, on to the games I recommend you avoid. Please avoid these games. Bao Zhu Zhao Fu. Now, I know a lot of people play these games. I just don't like these games at all. And I've given them more and more chance. I do try to play them at least a little bit every time I see them on a cruise ship, just because they're so popular. I'm trying to say, why do people like these games? And I just feel, for me, the lose on this game is the line hits aren't great. You don't get good line hits, like hardly ever. And the bonuses aren't great either. Like, they're hold and spins, but the values getting the hold and spins just are not good. If you can pop multiples on this game, you can get a pretty decent bonus, but that is so rare. And at an 88-cent bet, it's going to drain your bankroll before you ever get to get a payoff for it. And that's what we're kind of trying to think as we play along, right? Like, as you're playing, think about how much you've lost already, and think about, if you hit a bonus, what are you going to recoup from that? So if I'm playing this game at an 88-cent bet and I've already lost $65, I know fairly reliably, even if I pop a couple of those bonuses, I'm not going to win my money back. So I should probably just leave it, instead of the sunk cost fallacy that I already put so much money in, I should keep playing. Don't have that mindset any slots, because if you do, you're going to end up leaving that ship down so much. And sure, you might have gotten yourself an instant certificate, but what did you pay to get that instant certificate? It's just not worth it. Devil Lock and Loot. This game is awful. There's one with a leprechaun as well. This exact same gameplay. First of all, I can't with this devil. I can't even look at it. It's so ugly, and it says some weird things when you hit, and I don't like the way the game plays at all. I don't like the graphics, and there's no line hits, and even when you hit the bonus sucks. These potion bottles just sit there forever, and then when you look at the mini and the minor, they're crap. So, to me, there's no value in playing this game. Do not play this game. It's terrible. Monopoly Express. I really want to love the Monopoly games. There's the one with the big balloon that I kind of played because I like. This one you want to like as well, because the bonus is fun. The graphics are really great. I like the interactivity in the game as well. But I just feel like this game, it just drains you so quickly. And then the bonuses aren't great either. If you can do a multiple pop on this game, just like on a lot of other games, you can win. But I played this a little bit, and I also watched people play this, and I just watched people just pour hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars into these machines, especially with one that had a really high major. Everybody was trying to get that major, and they were just losing all their money. So for that reason, maybe, if I'm doing really well in the casino, if I hit a major somewhere, if I was up a few $100s, maybe I'd put a couple $100s into this machine, because like I said, it's fun to play, but just don't expect not to lose whatever you put into this machine. So for that reason, I do recommend you don't play it. All right, Mo Mummy. We all know about Mo Mummy. I've covered it a few times, so I'm not going to go crazily into it too much. It's just, for this one, the line hits aren't good on Mo Mummy. They're not good. You're playing for the bonus. So, the problem with that is it can take a long, long time for you to trigger the bonus. Generally speaking, when you hit the bonus, everybody's trying to hit the cash collect bonus because that's the best one. Generally speaking, you have decent bonuses. I think let's say I hit maybe 10 of these bonuses. I would say 75% of them I've done fairly well. And when I say fairly well, I mean over $50. So This is one of those games where I just say, if you're trying to bankroll, keep your bankroll and you're trying to slow roll, I would never even touch this game. This for me is a game to play when you're up and you just want to have some fun, because it is fun. So there you go. Those are the slots I recommend that you play, the ones I think you should play with caution, and the ones I just think that you shouldn't play on Grandeur of the Seas if you're following my method, which is just spending less, stretching your time in the casino and getting those marketing offers instead of going for like instant certificates. I've got tons of content on this channel all about little methodologies for how I've managed to go on over 30 free cruises on Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Princess, MSC, Virgin Voyages, and spend a lot less. My average losses on Royal Caribbean over 20 comped cruises is about $50 a day. That is really good. So if you want to know more about all that, you can check out my channel. And then I've got some really exciting stuff coming up on the channel as well. I am going to be on one of the very first sailings, actually back to back, on Star Princess, which is the next edition of the newest Princess ships. I have been on Sun Princess. I'm really interested to see what improvements they've made on Star versus Sun, that although it's a beautiful ship, definitely has its challenges. So that's coming up in just a few short weeks. So we'll have lots of content about that. And then coming up in December, I've got a back-to-back on Wonder of the Seas. And I'm so excited. I was one of the people that was selected for the showcase day on the Paradise Beach Club, which is the brand new Royal Caribbean property in Nassau. This is before it officially opens to the public. They're actually tendering us over from the ship right to the beach, and we have free food, free drinks. So I will be probably live streaming that if you want me to, and then of course making some content based on that. And of course on both of these cruises, I'll do all the regular stuff, every penny I spent, how I did in the casino, and the slots I recommend that you play and avoid to continue to earn more comps for less. If you want to know when my next video comes out, please subscribe to my channel, turn the notification bell on. And if you found this video valuable, I'd really appreciate a like and a comment. It really helps with the algorithm. Thank you so much for watching.